Hi, my name is Drew McGukin, and I'm an interior designer in New York City.
And I'm Christopher Grubb. One thing I'm enjoying about hosting and being in New York is to get to meet some of the best designers in the country. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Or you're glad to be here.
I'm glad to be here. Absolutely, I'm glad to be here. So one thing about your look that's really amazing is when I look at it, and you have a quote about it's not so much how the room looks, but it's how it feels, which I really love that takeaway. How did you come about that? Because you had not been in this business as long as I thought.
I know, I'm still a newbie sort of, I'm still young in the game. I think it's really about function, and maybe that's sort of that classically trained, good old New York School of Interior Design education, which is just about function. And I feel like, and this is my personal opinion, the classic mistake a lot of clients make, a lot of designers sometimes make, is sort of designing to the photograph. And like in real life, the room doesn't work. So sometimes you can actually look at a photograph and go, that's great, and it looks gorgeous, and you know, it's all very articulate, but can you imagine being sitting in that room? Can you imagine being there? Can you imagine 4 people trying to have a conversation in that layout? So that's really where that comes from, imagining yourself in that space, and how would it work, and how would you make it work, and how would you live in it?
Well, I always think people too would be fascinated to be on a project when we're actually photographing it, because if you walked in the room, you're like, you can't use this room. You know, trying to stage everything to get the right picture. There's so many words that have been described, or you use to describe your look. What are some of the words? I like sexy. I always say sexy with clients. It's one word.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I get those words from other people, and it's like when they reverberate or when I hear them again, I'm like, okay, I think that's what people think. So sexy is one of them. I think there's always sort of a quality to it, but also bold. I think we really strive to make bold choices. We really push people to be just not normal, and that's really what it's about. Like for me, it's just building that story through layers and really trying to push and pull and create those tensions within every aspect of the design.
Well, and one other thing I like about your work, because especially in New York, people take a risk a little bit more than Los Angeles. The color you use, and it's great color. I don't look at the color and think, that's off. Is that something that's always been in you as a designer?
I always have had that draw to color, even as a kid, you know, whether it's drawing, painting, the things I put together, you know. I always think back to, my mom said to me once, she's like, you're the only person I know that uses purple as a neutral.
I love that. I love that.
I'm like, all right, well, you know, I like color. But I think that people, and it's not so much a mistake as an unwillingness to take a chance. And color to me is a great, easy chance to take. One of my very first projects in the business, we did a teal ceiling in like a double height space, like 20-foot ceilings, and the whole thing went teal. So it was like, wow. You know?
Do you think you have a signature look? What I always love is the question, is there an element that would be a giveaway you did the room?
We really do play a lot with color and pattern. If you saw a room that had a lot of color and pattern, but it somehow was still subtle and lovely, and it had a calm sense to it, and you're like, oh my God, how did so much pattern and color feel so serene? And you might say to yourself, did Drew McGukin do this room?
Yeah, well, that's good. Mine is stools. I always use stools as seating things, extra seating, as carvings, a piece of art, because a smaller space living, like you talked about, LA is getting smaller spaces. And you've invited me to be a guest tonight at your first Dibs vignettes. Talk about that too. That's exciting.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I think it's called the Designer's Muse or something. And so a lot of times we partner with just different people, whether it's companies. First Dibs is a great example tonight. And it was just a quick and dirty, like select a chair and a table and a wall covering and a lamp and pull it together in some way and, you know, give it a point of view. So I'm one of a couple of designers doing that. And I think just is always a way, an interesting, fun way to like catch a moment.
So you had to go to their site and pick things?
Yeah.
So it's all one of a kind, unique, and put it together. That's always exciting.
Which is fun. And it's just a nice, you know, it's a good touch of sorbet in the daily life of just, you know, chowing down on like client work. It's a little palate cleanser.
Yeah, I like that expression.
Oh, there you go.
Well, thanks for making the time to hang out with me.
Absolutely, it was great. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
And can people see more about your work on your website, yes?
DrewMcGukin.com.
And Instagram?
And at Drew McGukin.
There we go. All right, thanks again.
You bet.